Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our JavaScript journey. In our last session, we talked about how to name our variables and took a quick peek at the let keyword. Today, we're diving deeper. We'll explore the two modern ways to create variables in JavaScript, let and const. We'll learn how they're different and when you should use each one. Are you ready? Let's get started. First, let's clear our workspace. Alright, we know we can use let to create variables. The special thing about let is that it allows us to create variables whose values might change later on in our program. Think about a game, for instance. A player's score isn't always the same, right? It goes up. Let's try that. We'll create a variable for player's score. So I write let player score equals to 100 semicolon. Great, now imagine the player completed a challenge and earned 50 more points. We can change or update the player's score. So I write player score equals to 150 semicolon. See, we used let because we knew the score would likely change. This last line, we call this reassigning the variable, or sometimes we say we mutate the variable. So, let is perfect when you expect the variable's value to be updated. You can also use let to create a variable without giving it a value right away. Maybe you know you'll need a variable later, but you don't know its value yet. So, I write let user email semicolon. Later in your code, when the user provides their email, you can assign it. So, user email equals to double quotation example @email.com semicolon. So let gives us flexibility. Now, let's talk about const. The word const is short for constant, and that tells you exactly what it does. We use const when we want to create variables whose value should never, ever change. Once you set it, it's set in stone. Think about something like the name of a website or the number of hours in a day. These things usually don't change. Let's create a variable for our website's name. So I write const website name equals to double quotation code explorers.com and semicolon. Now, what happens if you try to change it? Let's see. So I write website name equals to double quotation my awesome site.net semicolon. If we run this code, JavaScript will give us an error. It will say something like assignment to constant variable. This is good. It means const is protecting our variable from being changed accidentally. Because const variables can be changed, it also means you must give them a value when you create them. You can't do this. Look, const gravity semicolon. JavaScript will complain because it needs an initial value for a const variable. So now you might ask, when should I use let and when should I use const? That's a great question. Here's a simple rule most developers follow. Always use const first. Try to make your variables constant. Only if you know for sure that a variable needs to change later, then use let. Because having fewer changing parts in your code makes it easier to understand and reduces the chance of introducing bugs. So, think const by default and let when necessary. One last important point. Always use let or const to declare your variables. Technically, you could just write something like this. Look, my variable equals to double quotation, hello, semicolon. JavaScript might let you to do this sometimes, but it's a bad habit. It creates something called a global variable in a way that can cause problems, especially in larger projects. Always be explicit and declare your variables properly using let or const. Alright, that was a lot, but understanding how to declare variables with let and const is super important. It's one of the fundamental building blocks of JavaScript. Again, remember, use let when a variable's value needs to change. Use const when a variable's value should stay the same. And use it by default. Great job today! You're building a solid foundation. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next lesson. We'll be looking at JavaScript operators next time, how we can perform calculations and comparisons. See you then.